Unthinkable pain is coming in the short term, but I would much rather have that. I'd much rather have a depression than a depression and a complete collapse of our monetary system and our dollar. That's what's happening. We're printing dollars at an alarming rate. A guy who can explain how what all of this means actually to you is Walt Zimmerman. He's with United ICAP. He's the only guy I know who can make sense of all of this financial mess. Walter, how are you, sir?
Great.
Did I get it right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So people know who you are. You're a guy you are just a data point guy. Okay? You're not one of these financial gurus. You're not making money on any of this. You are just a data point guy. You just look at all of the data points and say what it means.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, absolutely.
You do this for some of the biggest banks. You do this for some of the biggest investors. You do it for trading houses.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. So tell me what this means, Walter.
Well, everything that the Fed has done so far to try and stimulate the economy has failed. And Bernanke is maybe the world's foremost academic expert on the Great Depression. He knows what's at risk here. He knows what's at risk if we get a deflationary economic collapse. So he's going to throw everything he can at this problem to try and reignite inflation.
Okay, so let me just see if this makes sense. Okay? Tell me where I'm wrong. Deflation is a depression. When you go into massive deflation, that means nobody is buying anything. So
yes.
The prices what's happening to our house,
yes,
it's deflation.
Exactly.
Okay?
Exactly.
So the theory is we don't want deflation. So here's the price of things. It's going down.
Yes.
Correct? We're basically trying to, it's kind of like pulling the clutch out of a car as it's going down a hill, trying to get it to start. By
yes.
printing all this money,
yes.
we're trying to get it to start so it will go back up here. But the problem, as I understand it, is the timing of pulling the clutch out and knowing when to stop printing, because you're not working in real-time data. If you miss it, if you pull it out here and stop printing, it'll be okay. But if you don't recognize it until here, you have hyperinflation.
And the other problem here is if people look at what the Fed's doing and they conclude that the Fed is panicking, that the Fed is desperate, well, you know what? If that's the conclusion, then businesses are not going to hire, banks aren't going to lend, and consumers aren't going to spend. Because I think, well, geez, if the Fed is panicking, then what the heck are they looking at?
So, Walter, I'm in a really, I have to tell you, I love my country.
Yes.
I have been concerned about this for a very long time. And I said, I think back in October, gang, we are missing exits. I'm seeing them go by. Exit, get off here, get off here, get off here.
Yes.
This is the last line. What happened at 3 o'clock? That's it, right? There's
yes.
no other big, okay.
No, no.
So I have a problem. Because the problem is, am I making things worse, Walter, by telling people this?
No, I think people need to know that this is a very, very difficult situation. The problem is, what the Fed is trying to do is abbreviate the deflation. But in reality, what you need for a sustainable recovery is you need prices that get very cheap, and you need people to go back to cash to pay down debt. And the Fed is coming in saying, no, 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 no. We want you to start borrowing right away. We want you to start spending right away. Don't bother about saving money again.
I saw this. I find this grotesque. This in Newsweek. I want you to start spending.
Yes.
Isn't that, they're saying that's the cure, but this is the problem.
Well, you know, the irony to this is for years everybody complained that America saves less than any other country in the world.
Right.
Now that Americans are starting to save again, economists are freaking out. It's like, oh my God, they're starting to save.
Because it's a production problem, right? Because we don't make anything anymore. Right. We just spend. Our economy is built on spending.
Yes. And so for a while, interest rates were so low. You had a stock market bubble with the dot-com. You had a housing bubble, and you had a commodity bubble. They all burst, and now the Fed's trying to get a bubble going all over again without allowing this cycle to work.
It's the money bubble. I said this a year ago. A money bubble is coming, and it's the last bubble. Because when this one pops, there's nothing left.
There's no other recourse.
So, I just want to understand the problem, then I want to ask you a favor. The first thing is, if we don't do this, and we're going into deflation, right?
Yes.
If we don't do this, we have a depression.
Yes.
We're in a depression.
Absolutely.
Okay. If we do this, and it doesn't work, which verify for me, this has never been done successfully in the history of mankind. True or false?
That's true. It's never succeeded. It's never been applied in this way for this reason at this point in the economic cycle.
What does that mean?
Well, it means that we're in uncharted territory.
Okay.
It means there's no precedent.
Okay.
We can't say, well, this is what happened last time this was tried. It's never been tried before for this purpose.
Okay. So if it doesn't work, if it works, then we're out and we're fine. But if it doesn't work, we're not only in depression, but we have also destroyed the dollar. It's worthless.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And you brought up a good point about Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe shows you can have a depression with runaway inflation.
Okay.
It's possible.
I mean, I don't know. It happened in Germany as well, Weimar Republic.
Yes.
Okay. So here's what I want to ask you. Would you do me a favor? I don't want a straw man argument. I believe America, Jay Leno tonight. The president is on Jay Leno tonight. This is, correct me if I'm wrong, Walter, this is the most important decision this country has ever made. This will decide your children's future. They've already done it, didn't even discuss it with you. Could you do me a favor? Give me the best, strongest argument for it, and the strongest argument. Give me the biggest names, the most credible people that are for it and against it. And let me post those arguments so people can read them and decide for themselves.
Sure.
Can you do that?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. We'll sign up for my free email newsletter at glennbeck.com. We'll post them. I'll send them out tomorrow. But please, America, you have to decide. This is your country. You have to decide. If you decide that it should be tried because you don't want to go through a depression, that's fine. That's fine. But know what you're getting into. Know what the risks are. If you believe that we shouldn't try it, you've got to stand up now and say, no more spending. Let me give you one more piece of information here, America. This was just handed to me before we went on the air. President Obama is expected to receive bad news on the budget front on Friday as the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office, hold on to your hair. Oh, you don't have it. You've read it. Here it is. As the CBO releases what sources say will be a staggeringly grim assessment of his $3.6 trillion budget effect on the nation's deficit, a $1 trillion increase above previous projections. This is today. What is it going to look like 6 months from now, 2 years from now? We're working on artwork right now to show you what they're actually projecting a budget to be, being a quadrillion dollar. That's a real number, a quadrillion dollars. Wait until you see this one. Okay, sign up for the free email newsletter at glennbeck.com. Okay, the sweetheart deal with Countrywide. Forget about that with Chris Dodd. How about his actions concerning AIG? Should the man be impeached? Is it impeachable? Does it matter anymore? We discuss next.